My next guest, he's been on two, three, maybe four times before. He has his fingers on the pulse of absolutely everything that is going on. John Michael Chambers is the founder and president of JMC Broadcasting, LLC, a military intelligence, economic, and health reporting informational portal. He has been in the freedom movement for over 3 decades. JMC Broadcasting leads the way with over 200,000 collective social media followers and has over like 15 million collective views monthly. He is the author of several books, including a ton of 5-star Amazon rated books like the Trump and the Resurrection of America, a best-selling in medicine and science on Amazon, the genocide jab and vaccines, villains and victims. John's newest book, which I hope that he's going to talk about today, the Global Financial Reset, Surviving and Thriving the Transition, which was published just November of last year, has already received 5 stars rated. John is a public speaker and the founder of a trailblazing online news network, American Media Periscope. Today, John works as the founder of the JMC Broadcasting.com, which will be in the show notes and it'll pop up on the screen if you are tuning in on the replay or if you are tuning in like in the middle of our broadcast. An amazing website that you guys need to not only check out, but share and send to all of your friends because it's better than any mainstream media broadcasting that you can ever find, I promise you. With wartime coverage of military, economic, health, and intelligence experts, John continues to challenge not only the mainstream media narrative, but by keeping us all updated, informed, empowered, and connected. I am so thrilled to enter to the stage. John, thank you so much for your time and joining us tonight.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good night, depending on where you are. Nice to see you, Courtney. Thank you for having me.
I'm so happy that you are able to not only join me, but thankful that you're taking time out of your busy schedule. You have literally your fingers on the pulse of everything. And I know that you are so busy. So for you to be able to take time out to join my show means a whole lot.
Well, thank you. It's Monday morning here. I'm in Chiang Mai, northern Thailand, 7 a.m. And it's a great way to kick off the week on your podcast. And there certainly is a lot going on these days. We can go down any road you'd like to choose. I can start with China. I mean, that was a very big event as of recent.
Oh, yes.
I think back to Richard Nixon and Henry Kissinger way back when they went over there and opened up China and also decoupled us off the gold standard. 2 disastrous moves, I might add. But this meeting towers even that meeting in terms of what more than likely went on behind the scenes. And what I find interesting, and I can say this, and there isn't a person in the audience who can call me a conspiracy theorist because it's a paraphrase from our commander-in-chief and president, Donald Trump. But as you know, Courtney, he published, not published, he was interviewed. I didn't watch the interview, but I caught the drive-by shot of it, if you will, with Sean Hannity just off the heels of China the other day. And he said, boy, I'm paraphrasing, boy, Chairman Xi is really tall for a Chinese man. Central casting, like a Hollywood movie. President actually said that on a Hannity interview. So for those that still don't want to grasp central casting or the number 17, all you have to do is follow the president. That's where all that content is coming from. But beyond that, hat tip from our great president, if you think about what he's been doing, the administration, with the move in Venezuela, with the moves in Iran, still somewhat ongoing, probably really not. And then the move in China, all of this has to do with the money and the economy and energy and the currency. And what Trump is doing is he's resetting. He's a global financial reset. It's not just a currency reset. And there are so many things to unpack just in that one little envelope. For example, March 26th, I'm sure your audience saw this, the Treasury Department itself published, I'll call it a press release, a long uh, document stating, of course, that this will be the first time in history a sitting president has his signature on our currency. We're talking about issuing a new currency backed by gold, silver, perhaps other commodities. That is well underway. And in that entire press release from the Treasury Department itself, which is up on treas.gov, I would imagine still, um, not anywhere in that document were the words federal or reserve. So the president and team have been making moves, dismantling the Fed and the IRS since 2020. And we see it really ramping up right now. And and I've been saying this for many years. I'm not the only one. A lot of other folks have been saying this, but years back that to some extent, Chairman Xi, Vladimir Putin, and President Donald Trump are actually working together against communistic and global cabal forces. And we're seeing that more and more if you read between the lines. But this is a big deal. Some folks think July 4th will be the official announcement and the rollout of a new currency. I sure hope so. I'm a little bit more skeptical on July 4th being that announcement date, but all the dots connect that it should be. Well, whether it's July 4th or September 4th, it's coming and it's big. The end of the Federal Reserve note, which we call the dollar, its days are numbered. And thank goodness for that, because it's just money as debt as we know. So this is, pardon me, folks, this is a big move because the president said in 2017 inauguration, I'm giving you back your country.
Yes.
Right? I'm returning the power back to the people. Well, you can't do that completely unless you restore sound money, constitutional money, in this case, backed by gold, God's money. And that's exactly what the president is doing. And it's pretty extraordinary. But as our good friend, you've had him on your show, Juan 07, has stated, I'm paraphrasing Juan, he said, we're going to be facing a near extinction, economic extinction event, is something of those terms, um, focusing mainly on municipal bonds and the bond market. And so, and he also said, of all the challenges we've had and all the things that yet to endure, uh, the area of the financial arena will be the most difficult and challenging. So we got some more pain before we get it fully restructured. But the Federal Reserve and the IRS, as far as I'm concerned, is being dismantled to a much greater extent than we've been led on to believe at this point.
And that's kind of something what I wanted to touch on, because I'm always having messages or texts, calls or comments on all of my social media like, hey, Trump said he's going to do this or he's going to do that. Um, like drain the swamp, arrest all of
Mhm.
these people, do everything. And we as a public might not have seen it. And then I hear other people that are more in tune with 17, which admittedly I am not. I don't understand it.
Mhm.
I've never followed it. But people that I speak to are, and they're like, oh, you need to look at this delta or this date or
Mhm.
the numbers, whatever. And it still doesn't make sense to me. So I'm sure there's a ton of stuff that's going on behind the scenes. What can you tell my audience who are, the targeted audience, the newbies of leaving mainstream media and trying to find the new truth? What can you tell my audience about that? Because there have been so many people that have kind of like given up on Trump, or like made statements about jumping ship, that he's not doing anything, that he's not doing what he said he was going to do. What can you tell my audience about that?
Well, I can say they need to do a little bit more research. They need to be use discernment when it comes to podcasters, who they're following. A lot of misinformation, disinformation, confusions, or manipulation and lies are being put out there. And follow the president. But um, you know, a few things there. Well, one, we'll start with those that are turning against the president. Dan Scavino took that on head on a couple of weeks back with a post, and then followed the very next day by President Trump, a follow up post. And these things, of course, aren't done willy nilly, they're done very specifically. And that post, I don't have it in front of me, but Dan Scavino published an announcement basically to those podcasters uh, that he said something like, "We have a lot of folks working presently in the administration, for not a whole lot of money, and working to fix America, and you podcasters are making hundreds of thousands of dollars a month, and are causing problems." And then he closed out the meme with "We see you." Now that's pretty interesting. The next day, of course, President Trump named some of them: Tucker Carlson, Megyn Kelly, Candace Owens, Alex Jones, and another I don't have it off the top of my head. And Trump went after them, of course, calling him low IQ, Marjorie Trader Brown, as he expressed. And so you have that tier, the top tier in media, those names and others that I believe Scavino and the president are speaking about. And now I have an opinion about this. It's one of three things. They're either clueless, which is highly unlikely, turning on Trump. They can't be clueless. They got far more research teams than you and I have, Courtney. So they have information. So they're not clueless. Second possibility is they're enemies, as seemingly so, turning against our commander in chief in the time of war and saying some of the things that they're doing. And or number three, it's part of the psyop. We are in a psyop information war. Is this an act like there are many actors? I don't know. We'll find out. But what I do know is for those skeptics right now that want to turn this off and say it's all conspiracy, President Trump, somebody rather, published on YouTube. I don't know. It's 5, 6, 7, 8 minutes long. Just cut after cut, clip after clip after clip of President Trump over the years, and very recent all the time, where he says, "Oh, that's central casting. Oh, look at him, central casting." There's a montage video, like 5 minutes long, of 100 cuts of the president saying central casting, as just did on Hannity concerning Xi. Secondly, 17. 17 is the 17th letter of the alphabet, representing Q, which is the greatest open source military intelligence operation of our time, born, raised, and housed out of the Department of Energy. There's even a video. Pardon me, folks. I'm in northern Thailand. They burn the crops this time of year, and the pollution is very high. It's
So I
affected
have
my
a
lungs.
question.
Yes.
For my audience that are just tuning in or might not even know 17 or
Mhm.
Q, I'm going to put you on solo mode. Can you kind of briefly overview that? Like, what is Q? What is 17? When did it start? And then we can go back into your conversation about that.
Okay. First and foremost, do your research, folks. Don't, when anything I say, don't take it as gospel either. Go down the rabbit holes. But I can, point you and get you started. And I don't have a definitive anything about Q other than the statement I just made. But I will say, some say it began. It's a military operation to restore the power back to the people and expose the global cabal network, shadow government, deep state, whatever you'd like to call it, swamp, and expose it, drain it, and restore our constitutional republic and redirect humanity on course correction. Now, having said that, some say it began with the assassination of John F. Kennedy. Others say it began when John F. Kennedy Jr.'s plane went down in '99. I think that may have been. So I don't know exactly, but when you look at the grave site of JFK from a Google aerial shot, which you can go to Google and look at it right now, it's got a green pasture. It's got the whole thing is a Q. You see the cement structure. It's a letter of a Q. There are so many images and so many things, but here's the thing. So again, greatest open source military intelligence operation of our time. Years ago, I don't remember exactly when, probably 2016, the Q boards on the internet called 4chan channel was posting crumbs and clues and riddles and different pieces of information to help patriots learn how to research and go piece things together. Uh, that's the best way I can describe it. And I would furthermore say without it, we wouldn't have be where we are victorious this far into the war that we are without
Sure.
it, because it activated, as General Flynn, you've had on your show, says,
Yes.
you got to have digital soldiers and digital warriors. Well, that's where they were born from. It's when it came out. So, but one last thing, like I said, there's a montage of Trump saying central casting 100 times. Then there's a montage video someone sent me of Trump saying 17 so many times, like hundreds of times, on things that make absolutely no sense. Like, I've been to the White House 17 times. Oh, I think that's the 17th. I mean, so these are Trump hat tips. These are comms and clues. And for anyone else
Right.
who just thinks I'm crazy, or call people like me and others Q-tards, let me set the record straight. You're calling your president a Q-tard, because I can't tell you how many dozens of times the president has retweeted, retruthed, reposted himself holding the Q plus in his hand, publishing things other people published about Q that he would then republish. So let's just put it to bed. It's a tool that's been used in the war, to help us. End of story. Um, but those turning on the president that say, oh, he wasn't going to start wars, now he's starting wars. No, he's not starting wars. He ended 8 wars, number one.
Exactly.
Number two, pardon me, folks. Number two, um, Venezuela was an in and out operation, which exposed uh, many countries in election theft, uh, shifted the power of the oil, um, removed you know a dictator that stole the election, who's singing like a canary. That was an in and out operation, hugely successful. And Iran, although a couple of months into it, still hugely successful. And what that was all about was exposing and cutting the financial ties and control center of London and Lloyd's of London with the insurance debacle situation. Also, we're the largest manufacturer and supplier of oil in the world right now. I mean, you can go on and on, but all of this and so much more is about a global financial reset, ending the central bank fiat debt based monetary system, and restoring sound money. And that does not, if you think about it, any other time things of that magnitude were taken on, there's always been massive deaths and massive kinetic wars.
Hmm.
We're going to do this one virtually without that. And so what you're seeing is the operation in Venezuela. You're seeing the operation in Iran. You're seeing Jerome Powell being basically, well, he resigned, but exposed and out of there. And it's interesting, just interesting, that this is the 17th Federal Reserve chairman since the formation of the Federal Reserve. I mean, you just can't make these things up. But so Kevin Warsh is now our chairman. And President Trump also published weeks back, when he announced Kevin Warsh would replace Powell, he said, "You're going to love everything about this guy. He's going to do a fantastic job for us, and because he's central casting." So there you have it, folks. And so no, he's in the process of ending endless wars. You've got the Board of Peace with estimated 60 or 80 countries, each of them putting $1 billion in. It's been popular and profitable in our lifetime, the business of war. Now, this is going to change as we change our relationships with the UN, with NATO, with the EU. Everyone's been exposed through these recent operations in Venezuela and particularly Iran. And so you have here a great realignment underway. And I was on a point there about the economy. But yeah, sorry. Shouldn't be on the air with this kind of a cough. Pardon
Oh
me,
my
folks.
goodness. No, you're so fine. So what I wanted to kind of pick your brain about, and again, for those who are, because a lot of podcasters have been on for a number amount of years, but there are some that are just now tuning in like, hey, these people say the truth, whereas mainstream media only they tell us what they want us to know and how they want us to know it. So, in today's media environment, how does somebody separate the truth from what they are they're spoon fed. And how would you advise people to kind of navigate the ways against mainstream media if they really want to know what's going on?
It's a very important subject. We remember President Trump in 2016, 15 rather, when he came down the escalator, uh, pretty much right out of the gate, called out the fake news. That began that term, which is now global and widely known. He's called the media the enemy of the people. By some measures, they have violated U.S. Section Codes 2384 and 2385, advocating the overthrow of a government seditious conspiracy by knowingly reporting false information. Look, Mockingbird Media was a program, I don't have the dates in front of me, launched officially by the CIA. I think it was in the 50s, active to this day, but dissipating because of the great exposure that has taken place since Trump's arrived. Everyone knows the mainstream media is bought and paid for, and is completely controlled. So I had, as you mentioned in the introduction, we had a collective of 15 million views last month on our broadcasting, and that's probably more views than CNN and Fox had last month. I mean, I don't know, but the bottom line is you have to turn that news off. It's not news. It's fake, most of it. It's propaganda. It's bought and paid for, and it's also crumbling. Many of the statistics are coming down. We got rid of NPR. There's so many things happening in that area that has to take place. Now, discernment needs to take place in finding alternative places for news too, because while there's a large growing pool of podcasters, most of them probably aren't worth listening to either. So my advice, what I do is military, intelligence, and economic reporting. The majority,
Right.
not all,
Yep.
but the majority of my guests are in those categories with credentials. And we just hit it straight up. And then people should then do homework. Any resources we provide, do your own research, but definitely get off mainstream media. Come down, I should say up to the alternative media, and then be selective there. I have a resource guide at jmcbroadcasting.com. It's called Resource Guide page. There's many things on there from the president's administration and other civilians that are doing great work and resources, but there's also a grid of some of the podcasters. You're listed in there, of course, and many others. So I've put together sort of a yellow pages of some alternative places for people to go, pick and choose which ones resonate with you. But no matter whether you're listening to my military intelligence and economic and soon health reporting or somebody else's, if you hear something that sparks your interest or challenges you on it, do your own research. You got to get skin in the game. So everyone's looking for the truth. But look, the bottom line is why this has been so difficult is because the nature of this war versus foxholes with dirt
Yes.
bombs and cannons is information and psychological operations. We're running them against us to favor the situation. We're running it against the enemy to win, and the enemy's running it against us. Information war, psychological operations. What people need to understand, and this is the most important fundamental thing to anything we may be discussing in this broadcast, that this is, in fact, a military operation. It's martial law on steroids. It's continuity of government. That's what we're experiencing. And our good friend Derek Johnson has done the fabulous job at connecting the dots on the executive orders and the presidential executive administrative documents known as the PEDS and the updates to the law of war manuals that connect it all, which includes executive orders 13818 and 13848, which allows the president to seize assets and more from individuals and entities that are found guilty of crimes against humanity, treason, and other things. And that's why the world, there's like two completely different parts of society right now. You've got people that
Absolutely.
have this whole narrative that I'm on, and I didn't even scratch the surface. And then you have I and others. You have another whole crop of us that completely different. Like we're not looking at the same TV screen. You know, George Carlin, the great comedian, he always said, garbage in, garbage out. Be careful what you're taking in. That's the starting point, and then do your own research, and you will come to the truth. But the truths are being revealed. Uh, I mean, if you think back 10 years ago, no one questioned mainstream news.
Right.
Everybody loved all the people in Hollywood and all the music stars. I mean, you know, uh, and look at the world we're in now. Everyone knows they're spraying chemtrails on us. No one takes. Most people aren't listening to mainstream news anymore. They understand what it is. Most people, look what's been revealed with Hollywood, starting with Harvey Weinstein, right down to whatever the flavor of the day is today, and the music industry, pedophilia, sex trafficking, all of these subjects that do dominate the space, no matter what you're watching, to an extent, are narratives that were really not discussed years ago. And if you discuss them,
Right.
you'd be thrown off. So we've made major progress in exposing and disclosing. I know the next thing that's on everybody's mind is no justice, no arrest, what's happening, blah, 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 blah. And again, um, nothing could be further from the truth. Military tribunals have been ongoing, both prosecutorial and uh, and I forget the other term, but the two levels of tribunals have been going on at Gitmo, at Guam, at the JAGs with the ships, in the airplanes, and other locations. It is maxed out. Everyone knows, and its aerial shots can prove this too, the massive expansion that Gitmo has had. There's a media center there built, size of a gymnasium, that's going to be launched. So people are going to, as soon as that happens, folks, we're going to have a massive paradigm shift. There won't be such a divide between, or call it us and them. That's what they want. There isn't an us and them unless you're the lunatics. It's just us against the real enemy. And
Right.
everyone's going to gather around that as soon as they start reporting everything from Gitmo. That's straight from the horse's mouth. That trumps all news, all podcasters, every one of us. And that's coming soon. So tribunals have happened. Some people have been executed. It's not this great long list that everyone thinks it is, in my opinion, from the sources I speak to, but it certainly has happened. There are actors, there are clones, there are masks, mainly Biden being the biggest name you'd like to throw out there as a masked individual for 4 years. I don't care what this stuff sounds like. It's just the truth. And if people would take the time and follow, you know, the
Mm.
follow the information, you'll arrive at the same place. But now the other reason we don't see, like right now, Comey
Yes.
indicted, charged, and arrested. And we know the low-lying fruit names in the Russia hoax, which these are all official news. This is official, folks. This is a conspiracy. The director of national intelligence and the FBI director have given us the evidence and said the elections were stolen. Okay? Period. Now, I knew this and we knew this back in 2020, but now it is official. And they are now going into the justice part. Now, why it looks like nothing's happening? Remember, it's a military operation. They'll show us what they want when they're ready to. And part of our corruption is the judicial system within the civilian courts. So you're not going to see these people all arrested and handcuffed and taken to the Ninth Circuit Court in New York. You're not going to see that because most of them have been already or are going to be tried in military operations. And yes, you can process civilians depending on their crimes in military tribunals, not just people that took the oath to office. So that's what's going on. And we will be shown whatever has already happened will be shown, and whatever hasn't happened yet will be happening in real time, whether it's masked people or the real ones. I know this sounds like a Rod Serling Twilight Zone episode, but that's the world we're living in. And then we could talk about UFOs, but the justice issue, justice has been ongoing, and 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 they're all going to go down. All roads lead to Obama. Your president says that. Your president has published many times, been interviewed, speaking about the treason committed by Barack Hussein Obama and others, and reminding us of what the punishment for treason is per the Constitution. Q said, no deals. So, folks, there's a lot happening. This is very delicate and dangerous business of what this global defense war military operation under the leadership of President Trump in America is undertaking to prevent a true World War III or a nuclear event or massive kinetic battles. This has been our war instead. And it's been equally, if not worse, with the deployment of the pandemic, this next round they're trying to do today, and
Right.
everything
Yeah.
else they've done with us. But justice is happening, justice is coming, and you will be shown. And that some of the military experts I interview, retired Brigadier General Blaine Holt, retired Captain Pete Matasu, retired Lieutenant Colonel from the Marines Matt Meck, once Chief of Staff, and a whole other panel I do on a different show. Uh, Many of them feel some of these big optic arrests that we want to see may in fact happen before July 4th. I'm in the camp that says it probably is going to happen before the midterms, but let's hope some of it takes place. But folks, it's all happening, and we're very close to some massive victories. Call to prayer just began. A period of time, rededication to God
Right.
and
Yeah.
country, and July 4th messages from the president forthcoming. New currency, new banking system, a QFS eventually. There's a lot happening. Repatriation of the stolen wealth, the trading of us as a commodity with the birth certificate, which is real. I know there's some folks out there attacking me and others. When you attack me, you're not attacking me. You're attacking retired lieutenant colonels and generals. You're attacking economists. You're attacking the president, Scott Bessent, and others, because that's the information we report through our military
Right.
intelligence and economic portal. So I'm tired of placating. We point you down the right direction. It's up to you. But soon those challenges will be gone, and we have to have grace and patience and love and understanding for everyone that's not quote awake. That doesn't make them wrong. It's designed that way, and all of us that are broke, don't have two nickels to rub together, yeah, we're responsible for our own wealth, but the system was designed to make sure you didn't have any of it, from taxes, inflation, and everything else. The country's struggling, and help is on the way, big time. Repatriation of wealth. Uh, uh, President's talked about no tax on Social Security, no tax on tips, no tax on property, no income tax. He said it straight up at the State of the Union, and how many times is he publishing it? Folks, what's happening right now is really the most incredible news ever. We're restoring sound money, and we will have free and fair elections, or we won't be voting in November. You could take that to the bank. So Trump's legacy could be, by the time all is said and done, restoring free and fair elections in America and then the rest of the world. And two, restoring sound money. And that's how you restore power back to the people. And that's exactly what we're doing. And so it's an incredible time to be alive. And UFOs is another interesting topic. I mean, a very controversial one that's going to challenge a lot of people in their faith, and what reality really is. But to my understanding, the UFO files have been there since Dwight Eisenhower. Every president has had access and reviewed all the top secret security files concerning Area 51 and related matters, off planet stuff. And so it's not conspiracy, it's not crazy. In fact, the president just gave us the first tranche, and he's going to continue to do what same modus operandi that they did with many things, including Epstein. It's drip, 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 and then flood.
Floods. Yep.
Yeah, we're still not at the flood point on Epstein, and we're just at the first drip on UFOs. But I find it interesting, and probably not a coincidence, that 10 scientists found reported dead and 5 missing, namely David Wilcock. At the same period of time, the president fired everyone on a board that was formed many years ago, in the off-planet space, all fired recently, and at the same time he's releasing the UFO files. This is fascinating stuff. You're getting truth. You're getting a lot of truth. You just have to know where to look. And like, will the EBS or EAS be launched? I believe so. Why? Because most of my military retired experts concur. It's more than likely going to happen. Now, how it gets deployed and how it's used is up for grabs. But my personal opinion, I think we'll be notified for our safety, for what may be happening on the streets, and also it'll be used to show the world things firsthand that was either recorded at Gitmo or is happening live. So we're just so very close to bridging that gap and the divide that people fell for it. I call them the MAGA wafflers. Everyone
Right.
waffling on Trump.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. No Trump, no hope. This is God ordained. Go argue with the big man. Don't argue with me. You know, uh, Trump was ordained. This is divinely inspired. He was called to action, and he is serving. He won all three elections. Everybody knows that now, and um, and so we're setting the world straight. Just got to look in the right places for information.
And
It's
something that
incredible.
I want to ask you, there's so much going on right now and there's so much conflicting information. We've already kind of touched on the fake news, mainstream media, what we hear, what's like blasted all over social media. What are like excuse me, the top two or three things that you believe Americans are being misled about, and what's really going on with our economy, with our country, with our president, not only locally, like nationally, but internationally, like in the world. We both know that Trump just came back from China and all that, the information, the meetings, and what may or may not have been discussed then. What do you think that Americans should actually be paying attention to, and how can they find that information out, not from mainstream media?
Um, there's a lot there. Let me see what my entry point will be. First off, we all know from the moment Donald Trump announced he was running, the machine was activated to derail everything he ever tried to do. And we know, 91 charges, a couple of impeachments, or a few arrests, multiple assassination attempts, rummaging through his wife's panty drawer, all kinds of things that this family's been through. None of it worked. So it was an orchestrated event. As Hillary said, you better do something about that son of a bitch, or we're all going to hang from nooses. Okay, to Donna Brazil, as at least it's been reported. And Trump is exposing. He's this great disruptor. Listen. If anyone likes endless wars, well, those are probably the ones that didn't vote for Trump. Uh, you know, we're ending wars. We're restoring sound money. All the suppressed technologies, Tesla's work, for example, and others, they have it. It's all going to be coming to us in health, wealth, and technology, and many other things. But it was an orchestrated event to to well, they disrupted the second election. The military allowed it to happen as part of the operation. I know it sounds like a lot, but it's true. Um, it's a long, slow process to fix the entire world, and that's what we're in the middle of. As far as the news goes, you just go look up Mockingbird Media from the CIA, and then if you're still watching mainstream news, shame on you. That's all I got to say. Go look up Mockingbird Media, and again, I provided a grid at resource guide at jmcbroadcasting.com. I don't know, there's a couple of dozen podcasters there. Find the podcaster platform that resonates with you, and then do your homework. That's why I like what I do at JMC Broadcasting. I by and large interview military, intelligence, and economic experts, and we're bringing in the healthcare soon now. We covered it extensively years ago at American Media Periscope. We're bringing it on now. We're launching it in June. We're going to give equal coverage, and again, only with the doctors, the scientists, Mickey Willis, film producers, and we're gonna blast into that and give that the light of day again. So, but people, as I keep saying, at some point there won't be this bridge, this divide any longer, because the evidence that people want to see will be shown, and then there's irrefutable. Now, anyone who still doesn't come aboard, well, those are your lunatics, those are your crazies, and God will deal with them later. We don't care, but we were going to see a big unity amongst the divisions within our movement now. And again, back to the Marjorie Taylor Greens and Alex Jones and Tucker and all these guys, Candace, you know, I don't have the quotes in front of me, but they've said some very, very crazy things, like president's responsible for Charlie Kirk's death, for example, and he's kowtowing to Israel, which is the complete opposite, and so forth and so on. I don't sit here trying to convince anybody of anything. I try to convince those that challenge the narratives that I share. I would like to convince you to turn off the fake news for starters, and then to research good places for information, and then dig down the rabbit holes. But all you really have to do, it's so easy at this point, is just follow President Trump. He's telling
Right.
you everything. He's telling you everything, directly and indirectly. Central casting, 17. He's central casting. We don't need income tax. We're getting rid of the IRS, Federal Reserve. I mean, come on. What's more evidence do you need? So, you know, people just need to be prayerful, plan and prepare. I'm told by the military experts I interview, and Juan, intelligence, that there's still some choppy water ahead because of the financial. They don't want to lose quadrillions of dollars of control.
Sure. Right.
Not going to do it without a fight. So people need to prepare. There's 1 million National Guard and reserved military already deployed and in position. 1 million, as reported by my military experts, in America, in every state. So something's coming, and we need to be prepared. But it won't be long lived. It'll be short lived, because we're going to take care of business. But at the end of the day, if you want to fast forward to any time, in my humble opinion, dates are not good for. No one has the crystal ball dates. I didn't get the email from Trump this morning, okay? But I can say that you have sometime from July 4th forward. There's your time frame. You're going to have the beginning of what we call the golden age. The Federal Reserve note. What is the money you have? It says Federal Reserve note. What do those words mean on the dollars? Federal Reserve private bank note is a bond, a debt, an obligation. So it's a debt to a private bank. It's money as debt. You don't have any money. We were taken off of God's money, silver and gold, in 1913, then 1970s with Nixon. Trump is restoring that. You're going to have sound money. The repatriation of wealth that's been stolen is going to be returned to us in a variety of fashions. You've got Elon Musk on the record saying two things. He said, I'm paraphrasing, a couple of years from now, there'll be no need to save money anymore. No need to save money anymore. He also went on to say, and these are dropped memes on the socials, Elon Musk, a couple of months back, he also said, um, and eventually people won't have to work. Doesn't mean you don't work or don't want to, or aren't involved in some humanitarian project or have a business, but people won't have to. Now that's pretty telling. And we dive into this every Wednesday on my live show, Global Financial Reset, with various guests, breaking down resources, places to go to check this, and commentary and analysis of what's happening. So you're going to have, you've got $18 trillion committed to
Right.
America from foreign countries, from corporations, both foreign and domestic, to build and manufacture and do business in America over the next 10 years. 18 trillion. We're now the largest manufacturer and supplier of oil and gas. Hello. We are, you've got robotics and AI, which will boom the economy later. Now, there's a lot of confusions there. You got a camp that says, hey, look, the Dow's at 50,000, and you got a whole bunch of folks that say everything's going to collapse. We know for sure the municipal bonds are. Even Jamie Dimon's on the record with that. We also have a major shift taking place in gold and silver. The naked short selling of the central banks is over. They can't do it anymore. The inventory isn't there. countries like China and other entities are paying far more than the actual spot price of silver, particularly, and gold. The game is up. Gold Q operation said a Q drop years
Right.
ago on the board said gold will destroy the Fed because it's exposing the money scheme. The fraud of the Federal Reserve and the IRS are illegal and unconstitutional, and they're coming to an end. That's what's happening. Whether you want to believe it or not is up to your prerogative. But at some point, moving forward, it'll be very official, and there won't be any more in federal income tax and all those other taxes the president spoke about, because we have quadrillions of dollars. We have we're mining the Trump family 2.5% of the Bitcoin. You've got the sovereign wealth fund with trillions of dollars in it now, the Saint Germain fund. You've got the repatriation of wealth. You've got the 650 airplanes of gold that was taken back from the underground cities of the Vatican, and all of this and more. So it's a restructure of everything. It's getting away from the central bank system, money as debt, and restoring sound money. And that's, it eventually moves us into a quantum financial system, which opens up another whole discussion. But that's what's happening. And the free and fair elections is happening too. Whether the state, there's two acts right now that are critical: the Clarity Act on the money side, the crypto side, and then you have the Save Act, the Save America Act, which, the president's already told us. So I say it's not conspiracy. People looking for sources, follow the president. All right, the president telling you through his publishing that we're gonna have free and fair elections, whether the Save Act passes or not. And it's not through executive order; it's through declared National Election Emergency Act. President has every tool legally and constitutionally at his disposal, and we will not. Juan has always said it: 2020, it ain't over yet. We will not have a free country, and unless we restore free and fair elections and we set what happened in 2020 straight. And folks, both of those things are underway right now, and it's all good news. And the getting away that Fed note and getting sound money, this is incredible stuff. You fast forward a few years from now, it's a different world, and it's a good world. And that's where, you've got 56 stars on the flag at one point that was shown in a Trump meeting. We've got Canada coming in. We've got Greenland. We've got Cuba's a controlled territory as far as I'm concerned already. You've got so many things at play, and that board of peace, where it's now popular to not to not fund wars, right? It's the complete opposite of everything. UN, NATO, EU, all exposed, and WEF, World Economic Forum. No one's listening to these people anymore.
Right.
Trump
Yep.
went there and pistol whipped everybody. I mean, I don't know why people aren't. I do know why. We're still struggling. We still got a lot of problems because of the COVID shots that people took. We understand that.
Yes.
We understand. But this is war. This is our war. These are the casualties of our war. But we're almost there. We are almost there. And people, it's going to play out this year between July and November. It's already playing out.
And there is so much going on. We have this mainstream media, again, what I believe is mainstream media scare tactic with this new virus that's going on with the ships, or it can be, contagious, whatever. They're going to try it again. But there are so many people that are becoming more awake and more sound to everything else that's going on. We have about 9 minutes left. I'm so thankful that you've generously donated an hour of your time. I know that you are so busy. And the last few minutes, because I want to invite you on again to do a whole health episode. But what do you think would be the top one or two things that us Americans need to be kind of keened into, and how can we make those things the most successful?
I think because of the nature of what we've been through, really our entire lives, but we'll just say the last 10 years. Using again the terms psyop wars run on us. It's been very, very challenging. And then, of course, the deployment of the pandemic, and now this second go around, which isn't going to work. Um, People of faith need to pray and know that God is in control, and this plan is unfolding as it should. Um, it happens in God's time / the military's time. It's a military operation. If people don't grasp a hold of that, nothing will make sense. And that's the truth of the matter. It's a global operation. These underground tunnels, rescuing the children, all of these things have been ongoing and exposing all this stuff. So um, you're watching a movie, you hear that a lot, script, to an extent that's very true. That's why central casting comes up all the time. But, people, you got garbage in, garbage out. Get rid of. Go look up Mockingbird Media and stop watching it.
Right.
There's a takeaway, and follow military intelligence and economic reporting, because that's what we're dealing with, a war of that nature, and you'll get closer to the truth there. But again, a big breakthrough is coming for everyone, where we can unite, when the people will be shown what they're dying to see, and that's the perp walks, the executions, and so forth and so on. Fauci, you're going to see a Nuremberg 2.0 trial. You're
I
going to
hope.
watch that. You're going to see that from Guantanamo Bay. These people are not getting away with anything. And it'll take some years to comb through the entire thing. A lot of it's been done and will be reported, and some of it yet to come. I don't have any great advice for anybody other than seek the truth, be a critical thinker, and stop throwing darts at everyone who's doing deep, meaningful work to try and help everyone, especially at a time of war. You're challenging your commander in chief. Hey, if you were in a kinetic war in a Vietnam foxhole, and the generals back there are saying do this and that, and you say screw you, well, that's treason. You're gonna get your friend in the foxhole killed. This is a war. It's time to unite. I mean, especially at this stage of the game. So, what grounds you is the truth, and those of faith. Your faith will ground you. Uh, Follow news sources. Go to the resource guide. Follow Courtney's podcast. Follow my network, JMC Broadcasting, and others. There's good people out there. Find what resonates with you, and get to the heart of the matter. You have to know it's a military operation. It's a continuity of government rule that we are under and have been for years. And we are winning. And we are winning very, very big. But as Juan said, taking on this financial part of the war will be the most challenging. And that's where we are right now. So it should be there should be parades in the street right now when we get a new currency. G. Edward Griffin should be given the Freedom Medal that presidents give to civilians for their incredible work. He exposed the Federal Reserve so well in his book Creature of Jekyll Island many years ago.
Yes.
I bet he never thought he'd live to see this day. I certainly never thought I would. Folks, there's really so much to celebrate right now. And one thing I'm going to celebrate is a good hot cup of tea with lemon as soon as we finish this broadcast.
Oh my goodness. And I thank you so much for your time. We spoke off camera before, and I am just thankful that you've lasted this long, because I know that everything's going on. I would absolutely love to invite you back again once you get your health network set up with everything that's going on, especially with everything that's going on. Everything that's being exposed, finally being seen by the normies, the mainstream media, the targeted audience kind of thing. But John, thank you so much for your time, and closing words on your behalf.
Well, thank you. And yes, we look forward to taking on the health. We've got a show host name I won't announce just yet, but she's fairly widely known. And she's going to be the face, as I'm the face of the hosting of the military intelligence and economic broadcasting in my daily war reports, which are 3 to 5 minutes long. This woman will be the same on the healthcare side. We know all the best doctors, of course, scientists, PhDs, and so forth. We're going to take this subject on. It's time, and also the legislation side of it, and the up and coming technologies, frequency healing and med beds and all the other things. So, and the last thing I'd like to report, I'm doing a launching a new show in June. It's a monthly panel called Off World with JMC, where I'll be bringing on experts to discuss to help the president get the narrative out there about what they're revealing in the UFO files. We have a new show launching with that, and I look forward to that. So, my closing comments are: it's a great time to be alive. You got to look in the right places. Everyone, be prepared for some bumps, but there's more good news than bad news happening, and never give up. Very simple. I mean, I'm just in a different space. I don't mean to be flippant or arrogant about it, but I'm so grounded, uh, and you can be too. Garbage in, garbage out. Get good sources of information. And if you don't want to watch any of us, just follow Dan Scavino, Scott Bessent, and President Donald J. Trump. They're telling you everything. They're hat tips. They're giving you the clues every day. And then if you want help with that, JMC Broadcasting, Courtney's podcast, and many others fills the void. And then the rest is up to you. Do your own homework, make your own decisions. But incredible stuff happening. It's really incredible, and I'm very, very excited about it.
Yes, sir. You guys, thank you so much for tuning in to tonight's episode. Again, go to John's podcast or website. It's jmcbroadcasting.com. It's on his the bottom of his picture. It'll be in the show notes. It'll be on the comments. It'll be in the description. Everything. John, thank you so much for giving so much of your time tonight / this morning, I guess, wherever
Yes.
you guys are listening to. I appreciate all of your insight, all of your intel. You are one of the ones that always have your finger on the pulse, and I'm so excited and honored anytime that you agree to come on the show. So I very much thank you for your time and your sacrifice for coming on and just sharing everything that you know that's going on with my audience. So again, thank you so much. You guys that are listening right now, that are watching the repost, the replay, the uploads on whatever streaming pod platform that you are listening to. Thank you for spending your time with me. I appreciate you. God bless you. God bless this country, and together we're patriots strong. Bye, guys.
Join JMC Broadcasting's monthly Global Defense War Military Panel. JMC hosts an esteemed panel of military experts, including Ricardo Bosi, Tom Lennox, Chuck Sellers, Michael Jaco, Derek Johnson, Brad Wozny, and other military guests. Join us each month, where this panel of esteemed guests analyze the current events across a broad spectrum of topics, addressing the questions and concerns that you have. Subscribe for free by visiting jmcbroadcasting.com. John looks forward to seeing you at the next episode of the Global Defense War Military Panel broadcast, right here on jmcbroadcasting.com.